There in YouTube land, and if you just watched my last video, you're going to notice that it kind of cut off a little bit too fast, but that's okay, because basically I was just talking about what a great show Due South was. And if you watch Due South, another Canadian series, actually this is a Newfoundland series to watch, especially if you're a fan of like the detective shows in the vein of Rockford Falls. Is a little show called Republic of Doyle. If you want to know about the area that I live in, check out Republic of Doyle. It's a series that's done here, right where I live, and actually has some pretty big stars in there. Guys like Russell Crowe, and even Gordon Pinston, who also was in Due South. Next up is the series Mystery Science Theater, one of the greats of all time. Love this show. Everybody knows I love this show. I talk about this a lot, and it's always been a favorite of mine. Just a really funny show. I like both hosts. My humor goes a little bit more towards Joel, which is kind of a more drier humor with but hey, to each his own. And I do still love Mike, and Mike did a great job in taking over the series. There was not a bad host in this show. I think why I like Joel a little bit more is because he got to have, well, you know, Forrester throughout the entire thing, and TV's Frank, whereas the Science Fiction Channel changed the show, and not for the better. Two shows that I do have, but I don't have taken down here, that I think are great shows that people should see are, well, I guess I'll just say them, and it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Fantastic Joss Whedon show, and Angel. Angel, I did not like in the series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I thought he was annoying and whiny and all pretty boyish, but in Angel, the series, I thought he kicked ass, especially the early seasons with the guy from The Shield writing on it. They just did some really great stuff. So I figure everybody's talked about Buffy and Angel, so I just wanted to put them in there. Next up is the A-Team. Just a really cool 80s series. A lot of action. You know, I don't know if you've seen the movie. Really, please watch the series. It's I didn't mind the movie. That movie was fun, but this is much better. A really cool show. And you want to put a show with the A-Team, then there's two other shows. I don't want to get them out right now, but Knight Rider, which I actually don't have any seasons out right now, to be honest with you, the original Knight Rider series, but it's something that you should have. And of course, Remington Steele. If you're a movie fan at all, and you don't have Remington Steele in your collection, you're not a true classic movie fan. Go get some Remington Steele. Next up is a Canadian show that I'm guessing a lot of people across, in the States probably aren't aware of, unless they're older and they watch the Ed Sullivan Show, but some of the stuff did get over across to, I guess, Britain, places like that. I'm not sure if any of my younger viewers from over in the UK would know this or not, but the Wayne and Shuster series. The Wayne Shuster's out of Comedy Hour, and did a series of specials that would come on CBC. They were very much, a more literate type of humor. Like, literally, it was a smarter humor. And they assumed that their audience was intelligent. They assumed that their audience read, and they kept up with current events and stuff like that, and read Shakespeare, because they did a lot of that stuff. They did some like Star Trek stuff too, but even that type of stuff would be entrenched with all this really cool writing. Like, it's hard to explain the genius that is Wayne and Shuster, but if you get a chance to see them, really check them out. They're really worth it. Next up in Canadian comedy is probably the greatest sketch series show that was ever made. And although I don't have Kids in the Hall here, that would be on my list, but Kids in the Hall and all those other shows owe a lot to this one right here. And that is SCTV, Second City Television. And SCTV was basically a fictional network that was used on the series, and was really, really cool. Ship Factory put these out. Unfortunately, this is the only one I have. It's the only one that you could get in my area, and I paid a small fortune to get this one. Just really great stuff. They had some amazing shows on here, and there's what episodes did they go for with this one? The Network 9. I haven't watched this one in a while. They did great impersonations, but the thing is, they had their own characters. Bob Doug McKenzie would kind of leap onto like huge fame, during the 80s, and like would have their own movie called Strange Brew, which is a kind of a cult hit. So if you haven't seen Strange Brew, check it out. It's actually pretty good, and Max von Sydow is the villain. But they have some really great stuff. There's tributes written in this booklet here by Ben Stiller, Dan Aykroyd, Fred Willard, and Dr. John. So just some really cool stuff. If you haven't checked out Shout Factory ever puts these on sale, well, go for them. Trust me, you will thank me. This is really great stuff. The cast varied, but obviously John Candy, Joe Flaherty, Eugene Levy, Andre Martin, Rick Moranis, of course, those Shop Force guys, Catherine O'Hara, Dave Thomas, Harold Ramis, great stuff, and loved it. Next up is a series that ended, had the character die, then they brought it back for another season, and you know what? It was still good. Magnum PI. The series started basically on the charm of the lead actor Tom Selleck, and he had a lot of that. He worked well with all the characters on the series. This was a very buddy show. There were some very, very cool episodes in this. There were some very violent episodes, and just some fun stuff. Magnum, was a guy that was basically he seems like a slacker, but he's anything but. How do I explain the show? A guy in Hawaii with his two friends, solving cases in beautiful locations, and just great guest stars. The late Jeremy Brett acted in an episode of this. One of my favorite episodes of this one has actually Frank Sinatra, and it's a really dark episode, really cool episode. It's about a child killer. Next up is one that I have thanks to a good friend of mine, Parsons Berger, and that is Degrassi High. Well, Degrassi High, Junior High, and Kids Degrassi Street makes one big epic series for, if you've got kids, you owe it to them to show them the Degrassi series, the original series. The new series is great as well, but show your kids the original series, Degrassi. You can, you'll thank me later for it. Next up is another cool series, and I just got this one recently, actually. Quantum Leap. I love the show, hate the ending of the series. This was a show that went through its almost entire series, and it was about hope, and there was almost kind of a religious overtone to the whole thing. And you know what? It ended the series with no hope, which was really strange. It really didn't make any sense, because this was a really great show. Watch it, trust me. It's this guy gets played by Scott Bakula. Sam Beckett, basically he has a leap from body to body, and righting wrongs from a past where he meets like different people in history, and he never knows what he has to do, or he kind of knows, but what he thinks he has to do may not always be what it's hard to explain. Check it out, it's a really good show. Next up, the XFiles. Creepy, incredible, ran for too long, had two movies that were okay, but the original series itself had imagery, scenes, and episodes that are beyond good. I'm getting down to the best of the best now. Next up is Nip Tuck, one of my favorite shows in recent years. Of course, this is by the guy that would bring us American Horror Story, I think, right? Is it American Horror Story? Yeah, and Glee. Two shows that, yes, I like. I like American Horror Story, and yeah, I do like Glee. And this storyline here with the Carver would be the story that got me right into this and addicted. Of course, it's a beautiful cast. It's about two plastic surgeons and a woman, and the woman in between. Incredible show. Just running out of things to say. Just can't keep saying incredible show. One of the shows that I grew up with, and one of the reasons I went into business, this is going to be horrible to say this, but was Dallas. Dallas was just an 80s show that was really, really cool. We have like a fantastic cast. There's the beautiful, buxom Victoria Principal. We've got the best bad guy ever, J.R. Ewing. And of course, the best good guy ever, Patrick Duffy, who was before this making a series called Man from Atlantis. Ken Kirchhoff is kind of like the tragic hero. Priscilla Barnes, not Priscilla Barnes. What am I looking for? What's her name? Don't make me do this entire video because I forgot. Jenna Wade. Jenna Wade, played by Priscilla Presley, was fantastic in this. It was a nighttime soap opera. These were huge at the time. This one and Dawn is my picks for 2 soap shows if you really want to watch them. And if I was going to give you a run-up, I would go for Knots Landing. But this here is a fantastic show. Trust me, even if you don't like these type of shows, watch the first couple seasons when it wasn't serialized. It was an amazing show even back then. The show is not originally done as a soap opera. It's much more self-contained episodes in the first 2 seasons. The first 6 episodes were almost like kind of a mini-series. And then the second season still sticks into, like, it has kind of an overarching stuff, but mostly tries to contain it within an episode, thinking that people don't have the attention span to do like an entire entire series. So I've got I'm going to do this. Number 6, Fantasy Island, fantastic series. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's like a mystery, science fiction, romance. It's Fantasy Island. Welcome. And it's got Karamanjaban and a crap load of guest stars. But you know what? We're going to go into a third part because I'm going to give you my top 5. I think in the next video, and you're going to see what those are, and they may surprise you. Top 5 North American TV shows of all time. Wow, that's a heady list. Thanks for watching, guys. And for me right now, it is really time for tea.